Good morning, my brothers and sisters. On this episode number 157 of the Good Morning Guys podcast. Thank you so much for joining us on this fine morning, afternoon, evening, or night as we continue discussing the game of life amidst the other games we love to watch and play, along with our joiner-driven topic tonight. I am one of your four hosts, the judge, jury, and executioner of ants, bats, rats, and any other creatures that evade homes uninvited, Lucas Ham Swisher. Also puppy-cornered to me, the second of the Katra members of our squad, and the impossible uncle extraordinaire and dash-striking Hades master, Patrick Novacell.
What did you say? Catra?
It's his like super Portuguese attempt at saying a French word.
Katra. That's right. That's right. That's all I got.
Okay.
It's better than, what did you say?
Quarter.
Quarter?
I don't know what it was.
Yep.
Okay, let me help you out. Say the word cat.
Cat.
Now say it with a shorter A.
Cot.
Cat.
Cat.
Feels like it's just cat again.
Yeah,
Cat.
it just sounds. It
Cat.
doesn't sound like a shorter A. It just sounds like
like you have to say it faster, like cat.
No, it's not about the speed.
Shorter.
Depending on who you're listening to, it's either cat or quatre.
Sounds like you got a fur ball.
Yeah, most French is. Sorry, Chris.
You'll have that. All right, on Patrick's left and my right, the man with volleyball in his heart, Rocket League on his brain, and knockback wings in his old stomago, Ronnie Johantis.
Hello, everybody.
Hello to you too. And then last but certainly not least, the final member of the GMG Quadfecta, who's got nothing.
Oh, I've got nothing now. Okay.
In fact,
He's
get
got
nothing, I like
nothing on his brain.
he is it's not about what he has, it's about who he is. It's about the heart. He is the fact-dropping beast of the East who can sing you to sleep with his sultry voice in 3 lyrics or less. Marc Boucher.
Oh yeah.
Bo doody doody.
Who is the man?
All right, guys and gals, as is tradition, some quick housekeeping. Oh wait, not tradition, but we're mixing it up today. I want to offer you guys early access to the towels, to the pillow fluffing with Andy's candies.
We're not fluffing the towels tonight.
Nope, no towel fluffing tonight.
Okay.
They're fresh out of the dryer, so there's
Fluffing
no
the
need to
mints.
fluff them. It's not like you forgot about them 2 days later and you're like, shoot, I was supposed to take that out of the dryer.
Or the
This
washer.
is-
You leave those in the washer.
That's
like,
the worst.
How long are these
washer.
been in here? These
What's
are
that,
dry.
What's that smell? Oh.
And they're like
Good to go. I
staying
can
in a
just fold-
position that I don't want them in.
The best is when you just fold them up and you forget, and then later when you dry off and they get wet and a smell like just awakens out of them. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, got GMG news for y'all to know. We have extra content that's been coming your way. Some people don't know about it. Some people do, and they've been capitalizing on it. But we have a number of spoiler casts that we have divulged, unveiled, dumped on you. Dumped sounds like such a gross word, doesn't it?
Sounds smelly.
But, it is what it is. You just got to take it.
Smelly
Take it or leave it.
cast.
Just
Smelly
just take
cast.
the dump. Just take it.
Just take the dump. But over the past month, Final Fantasy VII Remake, all 3 hours. And on top of the 3 hours of fun, there's also embedded within that spoiler cast a secret prize that you can receive. Nobody's capitalized on it yet, which means pretty much those who partook in it and our moms listened to it, and that's it. Nobody else. But there is a free item available. You just have to follow the directions that are buried within the audio. There's
and
also
which spoiler cast is that?
that's a Final Fantasy VII Remake.
The 3-hour podcast.
The 3-hour podcast. Yeah. And
It's in there somewhere.
It's in there somewhere. You got to find it. And then there's also the BioShock podcast, spoiler cast that we did not too long ago. And this past Saturday, Patrick and I, along with Jared Orr, our guest, did part 2 of the Hades spoiler cast. So check it out, please, and thank you. It's very fun times. The GMG stream team, of course, is offering content and conversation Sunday to Saturday. Check out Marc on Saturday nights playing multiplayer games like Splitgate, Fortnite, and Apex Legends. And then you can check out Chris pretty much every day except Friday at 4 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, as he's playing at the current GMGBGBC game, Days Gone, which I did download and start this week. And also he's playing Borderlands 2 with me and our buddy Blaze. And then finally, I'm continuing to stream Hades, at least when life allows, spicing it up with some devotional and prayer time as well after Chris's streams around 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So feel free to join all three of us on twitch.tv. But as always, if streaming's not your thing, you'd rather tweet on Twitter, discourse on Discord, you can come hang out with us. Just click the links in the show notes. And then finally, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts and Podchaser, because it helps us reach new joiners. Whether you want to give us stars, exclamation marks, or an encouraging word, we hope you will let your voice be heard. Speaking of what should be heard, Ronnie, you're overdue for an update, my friend. What is going on in your life with your family, with your cat, all those things? Is it still alive or not missing?
Yeah, no, the cat is still smug and arrogant and just
perfect.
And not in the couch.
Judges me all day. Like, just that's what she does. Like, she just resents us basically for providing everything for her. I think she believes she should have more.
Probably.
So I think I told you guys last time we were we planned on selling the house.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been kind of working on that around the house, boxing some stuff up that we know, we're not going to need in the next couple of months. We did go apartment shopping this weekend. We found one we liked. The only issue was that it's not going to be available until January, which moves the plan back a couple of months. I was hoping, maybe in November sometimes to have it up and on the market. So
yeah,
I'm not quite sure if we're gonna stick with that and just move everything back to January, or if we are gonna maybe look for a different apartment that we like. The thing for me is I don't know, and I guess really nobody knows. Like, waiting a couple months, does that mean the market is gonna go down? It's just always a risk, and you don't really know how it's going. So
it's true,
yeah, especially in this environment.
Yeah, and the thing is if it if the market goes like back down to a regular version, like, then it doesn't really make sense for me to sell that much. So we'll see. I guess we'll kind of play that as we go, to see what's going on. I think we'll have to sign the apartment lease. So once we make that decision, that's pretty much it going forward. But I think it moved us back a little bit, which is okay. It kind of gives us some breathing room, I think.
Now, have you gotten your house appraised yet?
I had my house appraised about a year to a year and a half ago. For I refinanced my house before I plan on selling it, but I had to have it come in. I had to have somebody come in and appraise it. So it's been done, just not in this market.
Yeah.
Since it's really ramped up.
Right.
So what we're doing is really just kind of trying to box up a bunch of stuff, and we're going to buy a storage unit here very shortly, and literally just start moving some stuff over to it that we know we're not going to like take to an apartment, or stuff that you just store away and don't use at all. All those things that we all have that we just pile up. Everybody piles up things.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, Elizabeth piles up a lot of things. I don't really have anything. I really like. I have like one room full of stuff, maybe like a bedroom style. But no, we've been focusing a lot of our time on that. In the middle of all of that, my dad and my stepmom have moved back to Ohio.
Okay.
Whoa.
Back to the
Welcome
Cincinnati
back.
area.
Welcome back.
It was actually really just like all of a sudden, my dad texted me and said, "Hey, we're moving back. Like, I got a job," and he started, I think, a month ago. He's like, he already got a job up here, and so they moved. I think they closed on their Louisiana house in the next week or so, and then they already found a new house here. They're in Lebanon, if you guys know where that is. Mark and Lucas, I'm sure you guys don't know that, but
sure don't.
I do.
But it's actually Lebanon's really cool. It's a really like old town. It has that small town feel to it. Like, I've always liked it. It's just really, it's like too far out for me. Like, not. But so we've been helping them. I was over there, for a while yesterday, helping them move some stuff, and it feels like I've been like super busy, but then I realized like that I've played video games every night also. So like obviously I haven't been that busy.
It's good life.
On the video game front, I did. Is Hades the boss? Is he the final guy?
He is.
I mean, I know there's
he's the
things you
boss.
can complete in the game, but he's the last boss, right?
He is, right?
Okay.
He is the principal boss. Yes.
So I beat him.
Nice.
It
On
took me a
which-
couple tries. I did not realize you were gonna have to fight him like twice right there at the end.
Oh,
I thought
yeah.
after I beat him the first time, like I literally set my controller down and then he just started just mauling me. Like,
Yeah.
someone talk about a disaster.
Mm.
That's how I lost. That's how I lost the
same
first
thing.
time.
I did the same thing. So
Yeah.
I didn't realize there was 2 lives when I first hit Hades, and I had texted Lucas, and I was like, "Hey, I beat Hades." And
Yeah.
then as I'm texting him, I look up and he gets back up, and
Yeah,
I'm like
dude.
fumbling around to get the controller back on my hand.
Joke's on you.
He's got full life and everything. Like he's just ready to go again. I was like,
No.
like trying to scramble for the controller,
Yeah.
And then
That's
and he ends up
hilarious.
like wiping the floor with me because he dominated me at the beginning.
Of course.
But no, I remember thinking the first time I beat him before I realized I had to beat him a second time, I was like, he's a punk. He sucks. Like this is easy. And the second time, not as easy.
Oh, yeah.
really-
Those laser beams.
It really like once you figure out that you can hide behind those pillars
Yeah.
to avoid the laser beams, like that is a game changer for you. But
Yeah.
so I did beat him the next time I got back up to him. It got to be it is one of those games where as you continue to like kind of upgrade and get better, like you don't like I would go into almost like every run like, okay, I'm making it to him. Like that's for sure. Like I'm gonna
Mhm.
make it to Hades probably. The question is how much am I gonna have when I get there? Because you want to have basically as many lives as you possibly can once you get to him.
You do.
Yeah.
Like if you lose a life to like the first boss, it's like this is over. This run is over. But it turns out you can actually like replenish those down the road, so,
Right.
which is cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think me beating it for me was like the, I'm not gonna go like chase the platinum or some of the other stuff. I know there's a ton of stuff in the game like that I still like. I don't even know. I don't think I ever bought any upgrades like for my like room or anything. Like I didn't buy a single thing. So
Yeah.
but now that I beat the game, like I'm good. Like I'm good with putting that under the belt and just moving along.
Did you
Move on.
do 10 clears? Did you beat Hades 10 times?
No,
Oh.
I did not.
Just
that
the
it, I
once, huh? I mean,
Yeah, that's
it gives you something, but
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you beat him
That
10
seems-
times, then that's pretty much the full story.
I gotcha. I actually really thought the story of this game was really cool though. Like how they did everything, like all the conversations and stuff you can have, like
Mhm.
like it was really
Yeah.
cool. What? Was that just a yeah?
it is cool.
Oh, yeah, it definitely sounded like he was gonna go into
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, it sounded like you were about to start a sentence.
Oh, sorry. No.
It is cool indeed.
Yep.
It is cool.
But yeah, I mean that's pretty much it for me. I completed my watch through of Blacklist. I was going back through.
Mhm.
Nice.
I forgot the last episode was the first episode of that show that was when the coronavirus had hit like pretty major, and they animated almost like 70% of the last episode of the
Yeah.
7th season.
Yeah.
And it's the worst animation, just awful.
Ever.
Mm.
Like, and I feel bad because like it's clearly better than I could have done. Like if I had to create something, it would have been just a couple stick figures. But it was like the show was really good. So when you go to that, I remember like I was like, crap, man. Like I don't want to watch this, but like I have to watch the end of it. So I'm on the market for a new show. I don't know
Yeah.
what that's going to be yet. I finished that, and then I think that's about it, really.
Yeah.
Everything else, pretty much the same.
Good stuff.
Yeah. What about you, Mark?
What about me?
Yeah. What about you?
Oh, it's been a good week. I gotta say. Let's see. So last Thursday was my wife and I's anniversary, 4-year anniversary.
Happy belated anniversary.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, a couple of things happened that day. It was kind of crazy. The Thursday was like the roller coaster of roller coasters for a day. So that day specifically, unfortunately, I found out my mom, who, if you've been listening to the show, she's in a nursing home. She's been in a nursing home for the past year and a half or so. Unfortunately, the nursing home called me and told me that she tested positive for COVID. So, which is kind of scary, just because she's 68, turning 69, and she's got breathing problems, like she has COPD, and she's vaccinated, but she ended up getting COVID. Which I'm told, supposedly, if you get the vaccine and you do end up having a breakthrough and having COVID, it's not as bad as it could be. So there's that. I actually talked to her on the phone, and she seemed to be okay. I could tell she was congested, but she seems to be okay. But yeah, they're back on lockdown and all that kind of stuff. She has to stay. I mean, she would have had to stay in her room anyway, just because she has COVID, but. The whole nursing home is back on their major lockdown, so nobody can visit, all that kind of stuff. So hopefully we navigate as a country and as a world. Hopefully we navigate out of this at some point.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
because I'm sure, I know everybody's tired of this. But she's doing okay, despite the obvious. Hopefully, it won't affect her too much, and she'll just ride it out, and it'll be okay. So that was the lowest it got. The highest of highs that it got, however, was that if you've been listening lately to the show, I've talked about how I've been kind of up for a job opportunity at the place where Patrick works, as kind of a remote kind of work from home person in his department, and I was offered the job. Woo-hoo. So, and I accepted the job, of course. So I'll be starting.
That's good.
Yeah,
this would have been
that's
an
like
awkward story
nope,
if you're
you
like,
know what?
I'm gonna
not feeling
pass.
it. But so I accepted the job. Starting in a couple weeks, so that'll be awesome. Excited for that. And Pat is now my boss, which is kind of weird. But it's all good. I think it'll be good.
I think Pat's a good boss, but Eric's probably a jerk.
Yes, but he's a tasteful jerk.
I'll tell you what, there's times where Eric does things and I'm like, crap, why didn't I think of that? Like, you're making me look back at
he is
Eric.
pretty good. Yeah.
So he's a good team member, so you'll fit right in, Mark.
Nice. So yeah,
in the wonderful world of insurance you go.
Yeah, I'm excited to learn some new stuff, because I've never been in the industry before. So it'll be a learning experience, but
yeah,
I'll jump into it.
I'll tell you what. I mean, I've been in insurance. I was in personal insurance for 13 years, and now I'm going over to the commercial side, and which is I don't know anything about. So I've only been in it for just over 6 months and just still learning. So
yeah,
you'll be right there with me.
Sweet, in the trenches.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then we didn't think we were actually going to be able to celebrate our anniversary on our anniversary, just because she works late on Thursdays, and our schedule's just kind of off. So didn't think it was going to happen, but we ended up, doesn't have to be something super fancy. We ended up going to Chili's after she got off of work. So we had a late dinner just to celebrate. So that was nice to definitely be able to do that with her when I didn't expect to do so.
Now, did you get baby back ribs at Chili's?
No. Yeah, I know. Oh, well, my baby back.
I haven't been to Chili's in forever.
I didn't know they were still around.
Yep, they are. Yep,
Surprise.
There's one here in town. No, still on the health train, trying to be somewhat healthy. Which, I mean, there's very limited options, obviously, at Chili's, but I got a salad, so. But it was a really good salad. It's like a Southwest type salad, so it was really good.
Those are good.
Mhm.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. So it's good to just be able to relax with her and celebrate our anniversary that way. One thing that we're planning on doing is kind of an anniversary gift to to us. It's kind of a collective thing. When we got married, the rings that we got, they were like these blue and gold colored rings that had like a saying, because we had a Doctor Who themed wedding. That was our thing, and both of our rings had a quote from Doctor Who on the ring. Well, over time and over the constant use of hand sanitizer and things like that, the colors and such have faded immensely from the rings, from my ring and her ring. So we decided to upgrade, and we're getting ourselves some wedding bands. And cool thing is, mine is going to say player 1, and hers is going to say player 2 on it in 8-bit writing on it.
Yeah.
Cool.
And it'll be silver with a gold inset. It's going to be made of tungsten, so that'll be cool. So yeah, we're looking at getting those. So excited about that. But and then the other thing is, this past weekend there was a big, for the first time, a big Christian music festival that happened in this area, about an hour outside of town. It was their first year of doing it. And the festival was at this big open field, and so we went to the festival this weekend, and we stayed. We actually went Saturday morning, and we stayed the night into Sunday. We stayed in an Airbnb, and we met up with my wife's family, and so we went to this festival basically planning on going for 2 days, going for Saturday and Sunday. And so we went on Saturday, and both days were beautiful, but man, out in an open field, no clouds whatsoever, and here it's still like in the 80s here, so
pretty warm then.
It was quite toasty outside.
It just beats you up out there in the middle of the sun.
Yeah, and the bands we saw were great.
What festival was this? Did you say that?
So this is a Christian music festival. It's called Worship on the Mountain, because it's literally in the mountains. And excuse me, this was their first year of doing it, and so they had a bunch of worship artists, Christian music artists, like the ones we saw on Saturday. There was one from like a local church that kind of opened up. They did a set. Their worship team, which was great. There's a worship team called Vertical Worship, which, if you're familiar with worship music, they're one of the big ones out there. They had Ren Collective, which is a worship band from Northern Ireland, which they are fantastic if you're into Christian music and worship music. A lot of fun. Very like folksy with like, Irish kind of music. It's fantastic. But right about like midway through their set, like I put sunscreen and stuff on, obviously. But the problem was like the sunscreen would just like melt off my face from the sweat.
Yeah,
so
been there, my friend.
And it was getting into my eyes.
No.
And it was burning the ever-loving crap out of my eyes.
Oh, it hurts so bad.
And
so get it out.
You can't rub your eyes because it just gets in there farther.
It just makes it worse. It makes it all worse. It's like,
you just need one of those random eye wash stations like in the middle of that field.
Where's the eye wash stations?
There's a whole line of people.
It's like stepping from the 8th circle into the 9th circle of heaven.
That is correct.
It's
in your
awful.
eyeballs, like just dipping them right in.
But which is terrible at a Christian music festival. But
yeah, that's true.
Yeah. But so yeah, midway through Ren Collective's set, thankfully we had wristbands, so we were able to come in and out of the festival. So we were able to leave, and so we left and went back to the Airbnb, and like I immediately just jumped in the shower and just soaked my face and everything, and like, oh my gosh, it was terrible. We went back a couple hours later, and by then it was like 6:37. Well, actually 7:30, and by then the sun was almost down, and it felt way better. So we came back, and a group called Bethel Music was there. They actually did a couple of nights, and I totally understand for people that don't know anything about Christian music. You're like, who are these people? Like, but it's all good. And then the guy who closed the set was Chris Tomlin. He closed the night.
Nice.
Which he is one of my favorite worship leaders. One of my favorite artists. Which was great. We stayed for most of his set, but we're the kind of people that like we wanted to leave before traffic hit, because everybody and their mother's trying to get out of the venue.
You guys are smart, responsible people that make good decisions.
Yeah. Well, it's mainly to save my sanity, because
that's the worst, getting stuck in those long lines leaving there.
Yep. So yeah, we left it just before his set ended. And at the end of the day, we really thought about it. I was like, I do not want another day of that. I just can't. I can't handle another day of being outside like that. It was good for it being an outdoor venue, simply because you're able to space yourself out from people, and we didn't get into the really into the crowd. So obviously for COVID reasons, we tried to kind of hang back a little bit, which was nice. But yeah, I mean, overall, I enjoyed it. I don't know if I would do multiple days next year. But no, it was definitely a lot of fun. It was nice to get away, especially like the festival is in like a really small town area. So you get that small, like it's a historical town that I've never actually stayed in. So it was really nice, and the house we stayed in was great, and so it's definitely nice to get away and enjoy that festival, even though there were some kind of negative things to it. But yeah, so that was pretty much my week and my weekend in terms of in real life. But on the gaming front, I did jump back into Hades.
Yeah.
And then I jumped right back out of Hades.
Womp, 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 womp.
Now I will say I did hit a little personal goal and actually beat the first boss.
All right.
I beat Meg,
there you go.
Which I was super frustrated with the first time I tried to play through. So I beat her. I'm like, okay, let's keep going. And then I got to the second boss, that skull snake boss guy. I can't remember.
Bone Hydra.
Yeah. And I was doing okay. I figured it out pretty quickly and all that kind of stuff. But then, I died. And I know you had told me, Patrick, and Lucas, that there are no checkpoints, but it really hit me when it actually happened. I'm like, I gotta do all of that again. And to me, just the way that it's the gameplay is presented, it's just not my forte. It's not my cup of tea. And so I've tried multiple playthroughs of it, and it's just not my thing. That's not to say it's a bad game, because it is not. It's done very well, and there's definitely pros about it, things that I enjoyed about it. But overall, it's just not something that was grabbing me. It's not generally my style of game. It's not something I find, it's not something I gravitate to. So
yeah, we appreciate your effort.
Yeah, so
putting the time and
I did my best.
Now, how many runs did you do with God mode on? Just out of curiosity, how many ventures out into the underworld?
I guess just the one.
Okay.
Which it was easier. It was a lot easier. I did notice that. But it's just I just don't like.
I really wish you would have gotten the God mode right at the beginning. But
Did you unlock the gun by any chance, Mark?
No, he didn't.
No, I didn't.
Oh,
he
the
did
gun's
not get
great.
far enough. Yeah, the gun's fantastic. I love the railgun.
I don't like the if it was like, because it's still rogue-like versus rogue-lite. Because
It's rogue-lite. No,
Is
it's
it
with a T.
rogue-lite?
Yep. Uh-huh.
Because I thought rogue-lites have checkpoints.
No.
No?
There's no rogues don't have checkpoints in any form other than like sometimes they have save, like Dead Cells, for example, has save points, but that's not a factor in either of the rogue types.
Gotcha.
It's because the progress carries over, like in terms of, investing darkness into the mirror of night. The other things that you can unlock that carry over to the next run, that makes it a rogue light with a T.
Gotcha.
If
okay.
The ones you really don't like are the rogue likes, like where it's just like you just have to get better.
Yeah.
I would say Enter the Gungeon is more like a rogue like than it is a rogue light, but you do unlock stuff still in Enter the Gungeon, so it's somewhere in between that. But yeah.
Yeah, I just think in general, I just have a hard time with with no checkpoints and no definite spots.
I know
where you
because Apex does have a lot of checkpoints and it doesn't,
See, everybody gives me that. Everybody gives me that argument.
I just don't
but
see
it's
it.
not. It's not the same. It is not the same. Just because there are plenty of points where you can heal up, you can recover.
There are
and things
in
like
Hades.
That.
Yep.
No, not
yes,
like
there are.
Not like Apex. I'm sorry. No.
Yeah.
No. I will tell you though, Mark, like to your credit, it is demoralizing, like being on a decent run and then all of a sudden just like walking back into like the underworld or whatever.
The pool.
Like you just have to start again.
Yeah, like there are things that you can equip in terms of your health and things like that. And God mode, yes, you get a certain amount of health back, I guess, with every. No,
you just get damage reduction.
Yeah.
You don't get hit as hard. They kind of slap you on
there
the
are
hand.
points where you can buy health, but it's not all the time. Depending on what what is that guy's name? Karen or Charon? I can't remember the guy's name.
Yeah.
Karen.
Okay.
Karen.
It's hard to say Karen.
Karen. It's
such a Karen.
I like to call him Sharon sometimes.
Yeah.
Hey, Sharon.
But
how you doing?
At least with Apex, you can like stock up on med kits and cells and things like that to heal your armor and stuff like that, and you can always quickly go to a corner and heal up and things like that. To me, that's the big difference, and it's all in the way that it is presented.
Gotcha.
So that and to those who like those type of games, that's awesome. I mean, there are games that I like that y'all don't like, and that's awesome. So it's just the way that it is, the way that it's presented, just not my thing.
Yeah.
But I did.
All right. Did you play anything you liked this week?
I did.
Great.
I have been playing the absolute mess out of Psychonauts 2.
All right.
I started playing that on, I want to say Sunday. And for the better part of Sunday and Monday, that's all I was playing was Psychonauts 2. I didn't play Psychonauts 1. I missed that boat. But it was really easy just to watch a recap video and find out what happened in the first Psychonauts and in the expansion for VR, which was called the Rhombus of Ruin. So I jumped right into Psychonauts 2, and this is like Tim Burton in a game. I love the art style and just the quirky humor, and the story is very sci-fi, which I absolutely love.
It's Double Fine. Double Fine is just like a Tim Burton, but in video game form. Double Fine does it really well.
Yep, absolutely. And I've absolutely been loving the story and the gameplay. They make it super fun and interesting. There's all these like funny little elements that Double Fine's known to do, and I'm absolutely loving this game. I'm definitely gonna finish it. I think I'm pretty close to the end at this point. But I'm having a lot of fun with it. So
nice.
But that is it for me.
Cool.
Sweet.
Patrick.
Hi.
What's up, buddy?
What's up with you?
Let's see you're hanging out with the old Black Panther over there.
I did.
It looks like he's trying to give you a hug.
Hey, Bombay.
Yeah, so speaking of that, I played the Avengers the War for Wakanda expansion.
Nice.
Finally, because that was my plan. I wanted to play Avengers before I jumped into the GMGB, VC, all that jazz Days Gone game. So yep. I jumped into
the Days Gone game.
Yeah, I actually started Days Gone. I got to the opening cutscene and I was like, what am I doing? I want to play Avengers. So I went over to play Avengers.
Nice.
Yeah.
Switch gears.
Yeah, I was like, why am I don't know. I was like in a weird zone where I didn't know what I was turning on. I was like, this isn't what I wanted to play. So I played the War for Wakanda expansion, and yeah, it was fun. I mean, I loved getting back into the Avengers world. It was the same stuff, over and over again. You go to a point, you beat some guys up, and then you go to another point, you beat some more guys up. But the story for this was really cool. It was all based in Wakanda. We had some Avengers that had come with you, that were more part of the story. So that was kind of cool. And yeah, it was really fun. The thing is I was saving up all of my credits to max out the challenge card for Black Panther.
Right.
And I saw the Black Panther, all of the things that you can unlock. And really, to be honest, the first outfit that you get for Black Panther, the one that comes with the game, it's the best one. that for me, it was the best one. I thought that the what they did to bring it into this video game world was really well done. They did have the Black Panther movie outfit too, and that was for like 1,400 credits. I think I had like 5,000, so I got that one. So I switched back and forth between the one that they gave you and the Black Panther movie edition one.
There you go.
So that was cool. The storyline was really good, but the challenge card. So going back to the challenge card, none of the emotes is the Wakanda Forever emote.
What?
Wow.
None of them are.
It's not even like the final emote or something?
None of them. And that was another reason why I didn't feel like I needed to max it out, because I'm like, are they going to sell me they're going to make me buy this emote? And I'm just like putting on my fingers like, are you kidding me? So yeah, that was another reason why. So I held on to some of my credits because from what I understand, tomorrow is Wednesday the 8th, and I think Avengers Crystal Dynamics is going to come out with what they're going to do for the rest of 2021. And okay. From what they said last month in August, just like 3 weeks ago, that Spider-Man is still slated for 2021.
Really?
So right. my impression is they are going to unveil that tomorrow, which is what I want to hold on to my credits for.
For sure.
So, smart.
Yeah, but if that's going to come out in 2021, I'm not sure if it's actually going to be a story kind of download, or if it's going to be like, hey, Spider-Man is now in the game. If you want a story, there's also these other awesome Spider-Man stories that are on PlayStation right now that you can go get for pretty cheap, and they're really good. But yeah, I really liked the War for Wakanda. They said it was like the longest story of all the downloadable stories. I'm not so sure. I think they were pretty much on par with the Kate Bishop and the Hawkeye one.
Okay.
And I think the stories have really progressively gotten better. The first one with Kate Bishop didn't really care for, but then it really got good with Hawkeye, and then the War for Wakanda one was really good. So looking forward to you playing that, Lucas, so we can talk about it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
it's really good. On the life front, so when we bought our house like 13 years ago, our outdoor garage had the previous owners, there was a fire, and so the insurance company came out and they had repainted it some like really ugly, like off pink color, like a peach color or something like that.
Ooh.
It's been gross for a while, and that's one of the things that we always wanted to do, is to redo the reside or repaint the outdoor garage, but we focused on inside the house first. So this past weekend, on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we went outside and we got the pressure washer out. We took out off all the paint, and then we repainted it, and it looks good as new.
Like, I saw the pictures.
It's the same color as our house, so the same white trim and gray siding. So it looks really good. It looks like it's supposed to be what it was supposed to be 13 years ago.
Nice.
So we're pretty happy with that. And it was like I had to get up on a ladder. Like, I don't know how high you guys have gotten up on ladders before, but we have one of those ladders where it's the dual ladder or whatever, where you can like extend it.
Yeah.
And so I am up behind the garage, and I had to use almost the entire extender to get up to the peak. Yeah. And so I'm up there, and it's kind of like a little shaky. It's not like crazy shaky, but you can feel it move as I'm doing the paint strokes. And Mel comes back, and she's like, "Oh, I'm just making sure you're still alive." And I'm like, "What? What do you mean? What do you mean?" And then she's like, she points at this post, and the top of the post is like metal, and it's like jagged metal. She's like, "I just don't want you to fall on that." And I'm like, "Well, now I'm thinking about that." Thanks. So I'm like up there. I'm like, just really trying not to fall. But it was scary being up that high. But we got it done. It looks really nice. Really happy finally that's been taken care of, because it's really been an eyesore.
Nice.
On the movie front, so seriously, since I only played Avengers, and Avengers took me like one sitting, it was like maybe like 4 or 5 hours. Got that out of the way, and I really just watched movies all week.
Nice.
I rewatched Aladdin, the live action movie, because that's classic. I love it. I rewatched the Power Rangers, the new 2019 one or whatever it is.
I am still disappointed that they dropped that. That was a good movie. I liked that.
It took them an hour and 20 minutes for them to finally become Power Rangers.
That's fair, yeah.
Which it was. I mean, that's the whole reason why you're watching it. You don't really care about the backstory of the kids. You could have done that in 30 minutes and then be an hour and a half of them in the Power Ranger suits.
Yeah, that's fair.
Besides that, I enjoyed it. I'm a big Power Rangers fan, so I rewatched that. I rewatched Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Nice.
Rewatched that one. I rewatched a couple other movies, and then but it really culminated on Saturday night when I went to go see Shang-Chi. I think that's how you say it. The new Marvel movie.
So I guess the way, and it's difficult for me to even think about saying it this way. Say it like SH and the word young, like Young. Shang-Chi.
Well, the way the main actor Shang-Chi said it, his real name is Shang, but when he came over to America, he changed it to Sean. And he's like, he's like, just say Sean, but just at the end. So Shang. Yeah. So I was like, okay. Well, so that, I'll tell you what, if you've ever seen a movie like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, with those crazy martial art moves where they're flying all over the place and they're doing their moves and just moving around, and the environment is kind of like moving with them. They're doing crazy jumps and defying gravity. Yes. Yeah. That's what was in this movie, and it was awesome. The fight scenes in this movie are unbelievable. Like, the best choreography probably of any fight scenes in any of Marvel's movies. It was so awesome to see. And the reason why it was like with Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, just going back to that movie in general, they're all flying around, but they don't have superpowers. But when you're Marvel characters and you have superpowers and you're doing those moves, it kind of like, I can agree that, okay, I believe this.
Yeah.
In the Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, they look like someone had turned off the gravity and they're just like floating.
Yeah.
Like it's not you don't feel powerful just like floating around like a cloud. You gotta have some I don't know, some oomph to it.
Yeah, and this movie did. And this movie
Nice.
really felt like they definitely were defying gravity, but they defied gravity where it looked like it could have been possible. So it was just like that marrying of the two things. Story was great. Interested to see how this movie and these characters tie into the overarching plans into phase 4, because it was really good. I mean, that was comedy, action, good story. This movie was all about family. All about
That's what
family.
I'm talking about. Keep 2021 going. The year of family.
Like this was a family movie. It was not all of it was about family, and the deep into the storyline, the crux of it was family. So
I'm so pumped.
Loved it. If I had to rate this one, I probably would give it an 8.5 out of 10. I mean, it was really good.
Okay.
It probably would be in my like top half of the Marvel movies if I had to rank them. It was really good. And what I love that Marvel does when they introduce characters, they do it really, really well. And they just knocked it out of the park again with a new character.
Yeah, new origin story.
No idea who this person was.
Yeah.
So it was really good.
Nice.
And I went. No. I saw it on Sunday night. I think I said Saturday. I went to see it on Sunday night, and the theater was packed. Like it was full house. I walked into the movie theater, and the concession stand lines were like almost to the door. Like there were so many people there, and I get in, and there's just like almost every single seat is already taken. I wonder if there's some seats that weren't taken because I think there were some social distancing things going on, because they always sell 2 seats to like a ticket or whatever. So I had nobody on the right side of me and nobody on the left side of me. So I had both armrests. It was great.
Nice. Yeah, I'm not too keen on going into a movie theater still. I'm just still not ready for that. But yeah, I mean, which I feel bad because I want to support the movie, but at the same time, I do know it is coming to Disney Plus in about a month.
Yeah, and what is it? It's like usually in like the first weekend, these Marvel movies are like 300 to 500 million worldwide. Yeah. And right now, I think it's sitting at like 120, 130 million.
But it did like crush the record for Labor Day weekend box office.
Which is wild.
Of COVID. Yeah, I mean it's great. That's awesome. But yeah, I'm probably gonna wait until October, which hurts because I do want to see it. But
yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to watching it. So
cool. Well, yeah, nice. That's about it for me, Lucas.
All right.
How you doing, buddy?
Doing pretty good. Doing pretty well. We're in our second week of the family all being at home because of a few COVID cases in our school. So just taking it easy. Everybody has their little areas where they do their Zoom meetings or, do their homework, do their work. I'm usually hanging out with James in the dining room kitchen area. And we've been surviving. We actually got a 4-day weekend. We did not celebrate Labor Day with you guys, but we celebrated Independence Day for Brazil, which is today. And so
nice.
That was pretty cool. And of course, to commemorate, we went to the movies. We did not see Shang-Chi as much as we wanted to. We actually, on the drive to the mall to go see the movie, we were going to see, we were like, hey kids, if we leave partway through the movie we're watching, we're just going to see Shang-Chi, so don't worry about it, we'll be back. And they were just like, are you serious? And we're like, no, we're just kidding, we wouldn't ditch you. And I'm like, only because your mom's around I wouldn't ditch you. Just kidding.
I'd be like, so we wouldn't ditch you, but
yeah, I would.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would leave, I'd leave some information. You'd be fine. Little name tags. But yeah, we actually went to see Peter Rabbit 2. I can't remember, what is it called in English? Have you seen, Patrick?
Peter Rabbit 2.
Okay, good. I thought you would not know.
Yeah.
In Portuguese, it's The Fugitive, but it's like
No way.
What?
yeah.
That's
It's
a totally
Peter Rabbit
different
2,
movie with
The
Harrison Ford.
Fugitive. I'm like, exactly. It's like I was waiting for Tommy Lee Jones to show up.
Yes.
Like, I don't care, Peter Rabbit. I don't care what you did
I
or
did
didn't
not
do.
kill my wife.
I did
I
not
don't
steal
care.
their parents. I don't care. I'm arresting you. So yeah. It was very entertaining. I mean, we loved the first one. I don't know if
Who's
any of
in
you
that?
guys saw.
Is that John Marston in that? Or James Marston?
No. That's Hop with the Easter Bunny.
There's multiple bunny movies.
There's multiple bunny movies. No,
I
this
think
one
John
has.
Marston's from Red Dead Redemption.
It was totally Red Dead.
I was with you on Marston, but I totally forgot his name. No, this one's with General Hux is the main.
Oh
guy
yeah, that's
in the
right.
movie.
He's a totally different character
Oh,
than
he's
Peter
totally-
Rabbit.
Yeah, he is actually in the first movie. He's very much like General Hux. Like he's pretty much trying to kill Peter Rabbit the entire movie. But in the second one, spoilers for Peter Rabbit 1, he marries the female protagonist, and so he's actually a protagonist. He's a good guy in Peter Rabbit 2. But both movies we watched first in Portuguese, and then Peter Rabbit 1 we watched in English later. And there were in both languages, there were parts of it that we really appreciated. One of them was in the movie at some point, there's a deer that keeps getting caught in headlights. And in Portuguese, the word for headlights is farol. And it would just stand there and go, oh, farol. And so making that silly, that funny sound and using a different word, like ever since watching that with our kids, every time like we see headlights or we get stuck looking at a light or something, just one of us will be like, oh, farol. And so it's just a silly family, joke. And then one of the things we were looking forward to in part 2 was the deer saying that. And I kid you not, the deer said every word except farol. It said lanterna. It said, what else did it say? It said a luz do sol, which is sunlight. Like it named everything, but it didn't say farol, which was really just weird because that was like its catchphrase in the movie. So that made us a little sad just because that was like just a little inside joke with the fam. But we still laughed a lot. It was still really funny. At one point, they had the movie had a Green Day song blaring with Peter Rabbit walking down the street. So I was, of course, singing along.
Nice.
And
Which one was it?
enjoying
Down this lonesome road.
Yeah, exactly. I walk alone, my shadow. Yeah. And so it was a good one. It was a fun time. So I give it about a 7.9 out of 10. We didn't think it was as good as the first one, but it still had a lot of character, a lot of good moments. Yeah. We look forward to watching it in English. There are some jokes which just don't translate. I'm like, I get what you're saying, but it's just not as funny. I need to hear it in English,
Yeah.
So, but it still was a good time. And then besides that, puppy update for the latest and greatest from Rayla, our now 4.5-month German Shepherd, who's probably around 40 pounds now. She is a growing, and she definitely is starting to reveal to us the things she likes and does not like. She does not like sandals and shoes that fall from trees. I don't know how this happened, but at some point, something fell out of one of the trees at our house and it landed on the ground. And I thought it was like, from the way Rayla reacted, I thought it was alive. Like she was going up to it and like touching it with her nose and then backing off and barking at it. And I was like, what, Rayla, what did you find? I thought it was a dead animal or maybe a live animal that was going to attack her. I walk up and it's a flip-flop covered in mud, like a kid's flip-flop covered in mud. And
hold on, wait, I need to stop you.
I know where he's going with this because I need clarification as well.
Like, is this a regular occurrence where flip-flops and shoes fall out of trees on a regular basis?
It's the first time it's ever happened.
We're just keeping the trend going of weird stuff happening in Brazil.
Honestly, the way you said it, it sounds like it happens all the time.
I mean, it might happen for other people. I like to, just pretend like it's normal This flip-flops falling out of trees.
You
No,
were
trust me,
pretending like it was normal. Like you kept going. I'm like, I need to stop you now. Like you what you said, you're like, yeah, Rayla, she doesn't like it when sandals and flip-flops fall out of trees. I'm like, what is that supposed to mean?
Well, no, what's crazy about it, it's not that it's normal, but it's just not it's like it's not like it moves or it falls out of the tree and just sits there.
You telling Tasha, no, shoes don't grow on trees. What do you think?
Yeah, my kids are so confused.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, we don't need to buy them anymore.
Yeah, where do you think flip-flops come from? The flip-flop tree.
That's right, the flip-flop tree. The Havaiana tree. That's what they're called.
You can buy a little packet of flip-flop seeds.
Those are very exotic Brazilian trees.
But I picked it up and I like put it in front of her, and she thought I was trying to like shove a live animal in her face. Like she was not.
You didn't know what it was.
She did not know what it was. She did not understand what was happening. She was very confused. The other thing she does not like walking down our spiral staircases still. We got her down 4 steps, and her back legs were on like the first step down, and then her front legs. And she was like, nope. And she turned right around and went up. And we did it multiple days, multiple times. But little by little, we're going to get her there. She does not like busy 4-lane, non-highway roads. We took her to a park yesterday, and she was barking at every other car, every other motorcycle, lunging sometimes at the cars driving past us. I was like, this is not good.
In her defense, I don't like those either. So,
I mean, I don't either, but I don't lunge at them. I'm like, fair. I give them the stink eye maybe, or shake my head at them, but I don't jump at them. She's like, I'll eat you. I'll cut you. And I'm like, no, you won't. They will kill you. And so I got a really good workout taking Rayla to the park. I kind of wish I had like a sled or a cart of some kind, because she just would have pulled me just right down. Of course, she would have pulled me into oncoming traffic, so that would have been bad. So never mind, I take that back. I don't want to have a sled on me the next time we do that. But she was on the struggle bus. She was barking and going after everything. But we got to train her. We got to get used to just these outside, these outside things. She's got to eventually get to the point where it's just normal and not a big deal, whether it's flip-flops falling from trees or cars driving down the road. So the last thing she doesn't like is people who cut down our trees. We had 2 huge trees in our front yard, about, I would say, at least 60 feet tall.
So you
dead.
So what you did is you sided with Rayla and you cut down the flip-flop tree?
Oh, we did. We cut
You're
down
like,
both
I know you don't
trees.
like this, so we're getting rid of it.
You know what? We're going to cut it down for you because we love you. You're our favorite dog in our family. Yeah. So, and it was quite a sight to behold. These trees were so big that when they cut down the topmost parts and those top parts hit the ground, it shook the property. Like it was loud, and it thumped the ground. I mean, at one point, probably the midway of one tree, it flipped down, and when it landed, it was like a dagger, and it sank into the ground at least 3 or 4 feet.
Whoa!
And just made this huge divot in the dirt. Like we had to fill it in with dirt and sand and stuff. It was crazy. Like I've never seen trees like live getting cut down like that. But it was pretty cool. They definitely destroyed one of our flower bushes. I don't know what flowers they are, and I honestly don't personally care because I kill stuff anyways when I try to be like, green thumb planting guy. But yeah, so it was fun. But there was a group of guys here all day, and they cut down these 2 dead trees that were not dispensing flip-flops, just to be clear. Not anymore. They were
not
dead.
That one.
They couldn't do it. But Rayla does love her family and car rides and tummy rubs still. So there are things that she likes, just
That's
not
good.
the other things I mentioned. Yeah. Still playing Hades. It's a fantastic game. I'm just a couple trophies away from the platinum, but I'm not in a hurry to get it because I want to make it platinum number 300. But like I said, I'm not really in a hurry, so I plan to play a whole bunch of it to 100%, a bunch of the weapons and unlocking things, using the resources. I definitely bought some pet toys for Cerberus today, which he did not care for, but I still bought them for him
I did that too.
because I love him. He's best boy. So I was like, you know what? I got you covered. I'm giving you these. I got him a little fancy bed. He doesn't really appreciate it, but he still loves me. Other than that, like Patrick said, I started Days Gone for the GMG VGBC. So in the coming weeks, we will be having some thoughts to say about that for sure.
How far are you into Days Gone now? Because I'm almost starting it.
I got probably 3 missions in. Without giving away too much, okay. I'm doing like I've gotten to the point where I now already have like a laundry list of side missions, and then my own missions. And this guy over here is like, hey, why don't you help me out with this? At one point, like some people took my bike and they're like, well, if you do these 5 things for us, we got you covered.
Awesome. Wow.
Like, you
ransomed your bike.
Something.
Okay.
You took my bike. That's my bike. Yeah. So, I would say I'm like 4 missions in, probably.
Yeah. I when I booted it up, I looked and I was like, I have 4 trophies from this game.
You had started it already?
I don't remember ever starting it. So I'm thinking either one of my buddies came over, they were playing it, or someone played it because I don't remember anything.
That's funny. Yeah, I've probably played like 2.5 hours and I've gotten like 3 or 4 trophies. So
are you playing on yours or mine? Like, are you
no, mine. I have it from the collection.
Okay.
No,
I was wondering. Wait, is that
I'm
why
not popping trophies for you, my friend.
Okay.
I'm not popping trophies for you.
Okay.
Sorry.
Sorry.
The last thing that started playing this week was the Crash Team Racing adventure portion. I think I had talked about playing Crash Team Racing with my kids, that they really liked it. And so this past week we started the adventure mode, which is single player, but we did a controller, can pass the controller swap, whatever. So we took turns, and Tasha's a natural. She, I had to do a few of the tracks over again, but she completed her first boss race against Ripperoo, and she beat him by a nose. And
nice.
It was impressive.
Nice.
She was almost giving up because, I don't know if you guys have played Crash Bandicoot. I know Patrick has, maybe Mark. But Ripperoo he's all about the TNT. So the whole time Tasha's racing, he's dropping TNT like constantly, what would be equivalent to every 5 or 6 feet. And Tasha's like, he can't do that. That's cheating. I'm like, Tasha, he's a boss. He can do whatever he wants.
I was gonna say, welcome to video games.
Yeah, welcome to video games. So, but yeah, so that was really cool to see her. She kind of got behind. She got a little down. She thankfully had a few laps and she won in the end. So nice. We're enjoying that. It's good fun. It's nonsensical. It's Crash Bandicoot. It's like an alien comes and is like, I'm the best racer in the world, and I'm going to show you right here, right now. And they're like, whoa, let's do it.
Okay.
And that's it. And then Tasha's like, there was at some point, she's like, I can't really hear what's going on. And I'm like, don't worry. It's not that important. I'm like, I'll give you the cliff notes. Nothing's really happening that makes any sense. But yeah, I was really proud of her for beating that boss race. Speaking of bosses, we have a discussion to discuss about the hardest boss battles we have ever faced in our entire lives. Hope you're ready. Let's do this. Let's go. Transition music.
Right now.
Ka-chow. That's right, folks. We are talking about the hardest video game boss battles known to man or known to us. I can't remember. I've already forgotten. I know I'm a part of this and I'm part of the planning process, but is this top 3? Or are we just
there wasn't really a number
battles?
There wasn't really a number put.
Because I have 8.
I have 5.
Par for the course, as is tradition.
Actually, if I count all these other ones I have,
the honorable mentions.
I have 300.
I have 3.
3 boss fights.
Yep.
So yeah, I think we should just do a round robin. I don't really have mine in particular order because they're at different points in my life. Like, what was a difficult boss fight when I was like 7 years old?
Yeah.
It's not a difficult one now.
Bosses back in the NES days. They don't even hold. Those were the toughest.
But I didn't even get to most of the boss fights.
That's true. Yeah.
I was like, I got to the second level. I was like Marc with Hades. It's like, I got to the second area. Woo!
And I'm done.
And that's all.
Those were all roguelike games back in the day.
They were. No
All of
save
them.
points.
Everything
Yep,
was like that.
and haven't finished most of them.
Yeah, that is correct. That is correct. So let's jump into the most difficult boss battles.
Sure.
I think, just because I couldn't I was trying to make up a reason. Ronnie, you go first.
All right, so this was more difficult than I thought, because like when you think back about bosses, you're like, I mean, for somebody like me, like I don't really play that many video games, like that many different video games, I guess. So to like think back across like my lifetime and what bosses have like stood out, I come to find that really most of the games that I play don't have like a specific person as a boss. It's more like scenarios and things like that, or like
Gotcha.
Like a Red Dead Redemption or a Grand Theft Auto or something, where it's really not like you are technically going to beat a person, but it's not like old school. You face him and jam a bunch of buttons and get sweaty.
Yeah.
So that's what I was trying to think about. Sweaty bosses, basically, like who,
Gotcha.
like, really I had to make a few runs at and all this.
Yeah.
The first one that I actually recall is only from a couple of years ago, and it was not the final boss of the game, but it was MODOK from Ultimate Avengers 2.
Okay. All right.
He's the guy on the big chair.
Floating head. Floating head
You
initiative.
got the big
Alliance?
head. Yeah.
Okay.
The Marvel's like Ultimate Alliance.
Yeah.
I think it's the
The
second
first one. Or the second. He's in the first one for sure.
Is he? I know. I think I don't know if I played the first one. I think I only played the second one.
Patrick and I played the first one together. We fought MODOK.
Yeah, but I remember him being like so oddly difficult, like for being not like the end boss, and it took me a bunch of different tries to like get through.
What was an aspect of that fight that was
I can't
particularly
remember
difficult that you can remember?
I can't remember what movie had. I don't know if it was like a series of like missiles or something that he fired out, but he almost like covers the whole level in something. And it's really hard to get away with, and it does a ton of damage. He also does like a charge type thing, and it's hard to get out of his way if you're not like already moving that way.
Yeah, gotcha.
But yeah, I remember him beating me a few times, and I was like, man, this isn't even the end. Like, this is ridiculous. So yeah, MODOK was my first one.
Yeah, I mean, I find that the Marvel Ultimate Alliance, at least number one, if I have to play on easy with my kids, or if they don't carry their weight, we're done. Like I can't just carry everyone.
Right.
Like you have to all work together.
You just can't muscle through with one character.
Right.
No, you can't. And so those games are tough if you play on the normal or even hard. So I can imagine MODOK being tough. MODOK in Ultimate Alliance 1, he quizzed you before you fought him.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
You remember that, Patrick?
Yeah.
He asked you these questions, and some of them are so elementary, and he's like, how did you know that?
But yeah, I think I played through on the hard difficulty. Me and a couple buddies did. So
yeah, you did.
It was really
nice.
rough.
All right, Mark, what you got? What's your first boss battle you want to throw out there?
So there's one that like I remember the first time I played this boss, how intimidating the boss was. And even on a more recent playthrough, many, many years later, it was still, and maybe it was because I was so far removed from it, that I found, even though I knew what to do, like I was having a hard time with it. The final boss of Ocarina of Time, Ganondorf and Ganon.
Okay.
So, and it's one of those bosses, it's gonna be tough when there's multiple levels to the boss. Like he's got multiple like versions of himself.
Yep.
And you've got to go through all the steps and all that kind of stuff. And I remember the first time, like I went against Ganondorf, and just how intimidating all of that sets up. And you enter this dark room, and he's sitting there at this like old pipe organ, and he's playing this dark, ominous music, and he's just like classic bad guy mode going on. And he turns around and he powers up his Triforce, and that's when it's on, and the whole like arena changes, and then that's when you've got to basically play, volleyball or ping pong with him.
I'd forgotten about that. You got to play ping pong, and it's back in the 3D days where depth perception was much more difficult.
Yeah.
They had not mastered how like your eyes would. You just had to get the timing down and pray.
Some of this is, you know, the gameplay and when it was made contributes to how difficult it is, and how difficult it was for me in my recent playthrough of Ocarina of Time. But like, you know, first level you've got to play volleyball with him, or ping pong or whatever. You've got to do a back and forth with him, which people have actually messed with quite a bit, just because you can use your sword to deflect his little energy beam he throws at you, but you can also use like a bottle, like a fairy bottle, and smack it, you know, back and forth with him. You can use just random stuff, and it still works. Yeah, I just remember that like several times I had trouble deflecting, like getting the timing exactly right to deflect, because the more you hit it, like the faster he goes with it. And then you've got to whip out your, like the beam will hit him, and then he'll fall to the ground onto his knees, and you've got to whip out your light arrow and shoot him with the light arrow. And shooting with the controls in that game is kind of difficult with the arrows. And so it took me several tries to get it down right. And then, you know, you've got that, once you've defeated him there, then you've got to descend down the castle, because he decides to blow up the castle. And so the castle is blowing up all around you while you're trying to, you know, run down the stairs and through these different rooms. And there's all these enemies that are trying to attack you in certain parts of the castle. Then you get to the bottom, and the castle just completely falls to pieces. And then Ganondorf rises from the ashes and turns into his final form, which is this giant wild boar-like character, which is Ganon.
Right.
And basically you've got to get behind him and slash the bright part of his tail, which that part's not as bad, but like just the multifaceted parts of it made it really, you know, kind of challenging and intimidating to me. So, yeah.
Gotcha. That sounds like a lot of difficulty. So. Patrick, what's your first boss battle you'd like to share with the class?
Sure. So I love fighting games, but usually fighting games have the hardest bosses, because not only are they harder because they hit harder, or maybe they have their life, you can't hurt them as bad or as much, but usually these fighting games, the bosses become cheap. Like you feel like they are cheap, even on the easiest difficulty or the hardest difficulty. But I'm gonna take a little bit of a journey here. So with Mortal Kombat 1, you have to fight Goro before you get to Shang Tsung, when Shang Tsung is the final boss, and Goro is pretty much like the guardian of Shang Tsung. And Goro became cheap. Like he would do like a chest pound on you and just take away a third of your life in one move. Yep. And I remember just getting so frustrated with Goro. And so like if you can get to Shang Tsung, you should be okay. But getting past Goro was really, really tough. Yeah. Because of the power and the
you couldn't, if I remember right, you couldn't uppercut him, right?
You could, yeah. So I think it was an uppercut. It hurt him, but it wouldn't throw him like
it wouldn't toss him in the air. That's right.
Like the rest. So and then you go to Mortal Kombat 2. You get to Kintaro, which is the guardian to the boss, and Kintaro was a little bit easier than Goro. But it was still hard. But really, the final boss, Shao Kahn, in both Mortal Kombat 2 and Mortal Kombat 3 was just super cheap. Like it was it was hilarious because the game designers would give him taunts, and they would say like, "You will never win." It's like, and I felt that way trying to fight Shao Kahn.
Yeah.
And one of the things I love to do in like the fighting games is beat the boss with every single character. And I was not able to do that in Mortal Kombat 2 because there's only like a couple characters that I was able to beat Shao Kahn with. If I tried to beat Shao Kahn with someone like Sonya Blade, it's like there's absolutely no way that I could figure out how to beat Shao Kahn with a character. If I had like Liu Kang or Scorpion or Sub-Zero, like those are like three characters I felt like I could defeat him with. But if I had to use like Johnny Cage
or the policeman from Mortal Kombat 3,
Striker,
he was the worst.
Like,
I couldn't stand him. I was like, what is this guy wearing? It's
absolutely
like
no way.
Mall cop.
Yeah, I know. He's got a baton. I was like, and a gun. Like, how is he not killing these guys in one move?
Yeah, Indiana Jones style.
Yeah, so like bullet sponges. But yeah, Shao Kahn by far was the hardest boss in a fighting game, save for like. So I'm gonna go to my second one because I want to talk about it while I'm talking about fighting games. Yeah, is M. Bison from Street Fighter. Like he got really cheap at the end, and I think I had Street Fighter, all the Street Fighter 2s. You know, all the 16 of
all
them, whatever.
17 of them.
Yeah. And I remember playing it on Sega Genesis, and I might have broken a controller or two fighting M. Bison.
Goodness.
Because it was like I would just blow through Blanca, blow through Ryu and Ken and all those guys, and then I would get to M. Bison, and it was just like this guy's on a different level. Like they're not even close to the rest of these guys.
Pat, when I was trying to get some inspiration, like trying to think of some bosses that I've been up against in the past, and I started looking at some like top 10 or top 20, top 100 lists of the hardest bosses that other websites have posted. Every single one of them had M. Bison on them.
Oh, yeah, it was so like I thought Shao Kahn was cheap. M. Bison's cheaper. Like it's just ridiculous. So, and it was like playing against a pro, like a pro player. Like there's they block everything.
Yeah.
And they counterattack everything. But
you don't even want to go near him.
I don't even want to play this game. Why am I still playing it?
Yeesh.
Yeah.
I actually had Shao Kahn on mine as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on Shao Kahn?
I just remember being a little kid playing the first one and literally not being able to get past Shao Kahn. Like it was like my dad was playing or something. Like there's just no way like that I could figure out how to get past him. Like I spent so much time trying to get past him. Honestly, like right now, like I can't remember whether I beat him or not. I'm not sure. I'm not sure that I didn't quit.
Now wait, in Mortal Kombat 1, Shao Kahn's not in that one.
No,
right?
yeah, Shao Kahn's in 2 and 3.
Oh, it must have been 2 then.
Yeah.
Trying to think of what was that for? Sega. Was it the Genesis? Or was that the
Genesis had 1, 2, and 3.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. And then I played 1 like with friends, but we only played each other. I never played 1 with like the campaign. I didn't play the campaign until 3, and I played that on PlayStation. And I do remember Shao Kahn being a pain in the tuchus, but I wasn't like, I'm going to beat it with every character. I just played through it once and was like, okay, I'm good. Moving on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know that he's got like the long reach with his big hammer and all those fun things. But yeah, I think fighting game bosses in general, they always ramp it up way more than the rest of the fights.
Yep.
And so
I am
not a fan.
It has not changed.
Well, like Patrick said, like it's even worse that like they're basically trash talking you the whole time, like just demoralizing you as you're getting beat by them. Like it's the worst.
For sure. All right, the first boss battles / I mean it's a battle, but it's actually a series of battles that I want to share is from a roguelike called Rogue Legacy. And I don't know if any of you guys have played it. Patrick, now that you've gotten a taste for roguelikes,
I'm pretty sure I played Rogue Legacy. Is that the one where every time you die you become like a descendant of the previous character?
You're the son or daughter of and the game overall is pretty tough. But what's the difficult bosses don't actually come until its version of New Game Plus, where every boss has a remix. And so at some point, I just decided I really love this game, so I was like, I'm gonna have to get the platinum, and it probably took me I want to say 75 hours to do, and I died a lot. Like this game, like was not near as exhaustive in terms of story and everything else as like Hades or another game like Ghost of Tsushima, or a game that's like 30, 40 hours of like story, like continuing to progress. This one was like I spent probably 30 hours, 20 hours on just the game plus the remix bosses, getting all the little things. This game has elements of kind of like a bullet hell, or one where like you have a narrow margin of space to kind of navigate your character. One of the tough bosses is called Kidder. He's a huge eyeball that takes up easily a quarter, if not a third of the screen. You cannot touch him, and you pretty much have to work in a clockwise or counterclockwise pattern. And he just spits a bunch of projectiles out of his eyeball. And his remix, I'm going to post it because you can't really believe it until you see it. But his remix is called Neo Kidder, and it's ridiculous. Like, you have to follow a set path to avoid the projectiles, but you have to just chip away a little bit and then run around in a clockwise direction really fast, or counterclockwise. The other one that I had a really hard time with, this character was just pretty much a huge flaming skull, again, that took up like a quarter, a fifth of the screen. And it's a flaming skull called Alexander the Fourth. And in the original fight, like, you just have to go on platforms and hit him, and then jump down platforms to avoid like his flames, or his little, he would like create little mini skulls that would just slowly pursue you until they would kind of corner you. And his remix fight made the whole entire like border of the boss room just pure spikes, like not instant death, but when you would touch the spikes, like your life would fly down like you're poisoned or something.
Oh my gosh.
But then he had a laser beam that would hit you either off screen or on screen. Like, sometimes he would be off the screen, but he'd still shoot the laser, and it would take up half, like a third to a half of the screen. So you had to either be above or below it. And I can't tell you how many times I like restarted the boss fight. It was crazy.
That
like,
game was hard.
Like, it was super hard.
Any boss. I'm looking at my trophies, and I played it in 2015.
Yeah.
I got 9 of the 30 trophies, and I don't think I ever beat it. Because there's a trophy to beat it twice, and I don't think I ever.
That's what it is with the remix, is beating it twice.
Yeah, I beat I looks like I beat a couple bosses, so I was able to. But this was before I knew this was a roguelike game.
Yeah.
I think it was about free on Vita or free on PS Plus at some point.
Yeah.
That's why I played
was.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the last boss fight is Johannes. He's just a knight that's pretty much just bigger than
Ronnie?
you, stronger than
Ronnie
you.
Johannes?
Yeah, Johannes. Ronnie Johannes. And then the remix is Brohannes, and it's 2 Johanneses. You fight them at the same time, and it is, again, just
nightmare.
Ridiculous. So, nightmare.
Nice.
And I loved it. It was a great challenge. It's probably one of my greatest video game feats, just to get the platinum and just power through. So, yeah. That's the hardest boss fights I've ever had to experience. Mm-hmm. Ronnie, what else you got for us in the boss fight realm?
So I had to mention Ark in this. So Ark is one of those games where the bosses they're not, it's not a standard, obviously it's not a standard style of game, but the bosses, you have to go out and do a lot of legwork before you can actually like fight them. For example, like your average boss in Ark, you can bring up to like 20 tames or dinos with you. So what you have to do in order to do that is, if you just bring in 20 really weak dinos, they're just going to get mopped up really quickly.
Right.
So you actually have to go out, spend a lot of time looking for high level stuff, and then once you find the high level stuff, then breeding multiples so that you can bring in a whole army of like powerful ones. So the difficulty is ridiculous if you think of the full time that you actually have to put in to beat some of these.
Yeah.
And some of them even, I think the video that I sent you guys, like we clearly had more than 20 dinos like in that video with the mechs and everything. Like all of that was needed and we barely beat that boss. So in preparation alone, it's one of the hardest like feats I've had to accomplish in a video game to beat a boss. Just the time to put in, because when you go out and you're basically just flying around on another slow dino, like looking for high level dinos. So you're literally just spending honestly hours like looking for those. And then once you get there, we've had them where we've been beat before, and basically what happens, you get beat, a bunch of your dinos get killed, and then you have to, basically breed them back up, get them all ready to go again. And yeah, it's just such a time consuming thing. And the bosses are just, they're really tough. One of the ones I mentioned in here is I mentioned the Titan that I showed you guys, like the pre-fight video where we had everything ready to go. And then Rockwell is like the main bad guy in Ark. Like his fights are always really tough.
Yeah, that sounds brutal. If you have to have 20 large dragon dinosaur things to help you fight something, there's no way that's a walk in the park.
Yeah, it's just you can't go in solo because you can't do enough damage and you can't take that kind of damage. So
right.
Not only having to gather them, but also the fight itself. If you think like there's a lot of like console commands and stuff that you can use, it's actually a way easier game to play on the computer because you need all your dinos basically to attack, the target, or certain dinos to attack this and some to attack this. And yeah, it just gets really intense. One of the dinos you bring in is basically to buff all the other dinos. Like it has a roar that buffs them, makes them do a lot more damage. So you gotta have somebody on one of those, like constantly like buffing all of like your T-Rexes and stuff. Yeah. So it definitely it's a whole it's a whole process, and most games I feel like aren't really like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Mark, what do you got next?
So I was thinking about a more recent game for me that I have had a horrible time on the struggle bus, even though I loved the game. Literally almost every boss in Death's Door is a struggle bus. With every boss, it has to be a near perfect run in order for you to defeat the boss. You can't take a hit. Maybe one, if you're really lucky. But and you typically get, I think you get 3 points of health to start. I think you can up that to like 5 or so if you upgrade your character and things like that. But yeah, every single one of them, of the different bosses, you've got to be perfect, and all of these bosses are bullet sponges. It takes so many hits to try to actually beat these bosses, and then the final boss, which I won't go into too many details of the story or anything, but basically the final boss is a combination of all the previous bosses. Like he does all of the moves that the previous bosses do, and he does it more aggressively. And so it's a nightmare. Like I remember there's a Yeti that you have to fight, and the Yeti's name is Betty. Yeah, and I
like that alliteration.
And it took me.
Wait, Betty the Yeti.
Betty's Yeti.
It's rhyming. But
oh right, rhyming, not alliteration.
Yeah. We all know you like that, but
I like alliterations, rhyming. I like it all.
It's all good. But yeah, several of these bosses took me at least between 20 and 25 tries to beat them. It was awful because you have to like I said, near perfect run. You can afford maybe one hit. And a lot of these guys, their attacks are random. It's not something where you can predict it a little bit, but for the most part, everything's random. So you just have to survive and try to hit them as much as possible. So yeah, The bosses were a nightmare, but like the game itself was, a lot of fun. So, but yeah, definitely a frustrating time to go through each boss like that.
Patrick, what you got next on the list?
So speaking of surviving, there was this old NES game called Mike Tyson's Punch-Out.
Oh, you took mine. You took my other one. Yep.
I remember playing this, and I might have been like 6 or 7 years old when I played this game, and I was able to get through, Glass Joe and Tomahawk Tom or whatever the guys' names were, and you're getting through. And I think when I was that little, I got up through maybe Sandman, and that's as far as I could ever get. I could never get to Mike Tyson. And I remember watching my brother. He's only like a year and a half older than me. And we had one of those like Nintendo Power magazines that gave us the code that would get us straight to Mike Tyson. And even with that, I could never beat Mike Tyson. And it took my brother, I was probably weeks before we actually beat Mike Tyson. Because Mike Tyson, he hits you once and you're down.
You're done, yeah.
Yep.
And you come back up, he hits you again, you're down. And hits you and it's hard. Like you have to button mash to get back up after being knocked down after the second knockdown. And then you hit the third time, you're done. And so I actually never beat it as a kid. I couldn't do it. Didn't have the ability to do it. And I remember, I think it was probably around 2012 when the Vita came out, and I homebrewed the Vita to download all the Nintendo games, and it was Mike Tyson. And I downloaded Mike Tyson, and I went through it all, and I got to him, but I couldn't beat him. And then I was like, I gotta look online, like how in the world do you beat this guy? Because this is impossible. Like unless these are the old Nintendo games. They're all predictable. They're going to be doing the same thing over and over again. They didn't have the capability for the randomness of video games back then. So as much as it is now. So it was all the same. And so there was a specific way that you had to beat them. You had to tire them out, or tire Mike Tyson out. You couldn't do offense. You had to block, dodge, get him tired, and then you could hit him. And so I found out the right way to do that, and I finally beat him.
Nice.
As a 30-year-old, finally was able to beat a game that was like my nemesis growing up. I don't know. Did you guys beat Mike Tyson when you were little?
Nope. I probably got to like the 4th or 5th guy, and I was like, no, I'm done. These guys are ridiculous. Apparently there's like I don't know if it's on Mike Tyson himself or if it's on like another one of the bosses or one of the fighters. There's actually a tell that they found.
Oh yeah.
In
and
the crowd.
when you're fighting,
yeah, you're not
and you're like looking at that, you can't pay attention to this fan over here that does one thing, and then which triggers the fighter to do something. I was like, nah.
Yeah.
It's like in a fight, there's no way I could focus on that.
Yeah. No, I played the, I think it was the original with Mr. Dream.
The OG Punch-Out.
I got that one I got that one in hand prior to Tyson, and I could get to Mr. Dream, but I could not beat him either. It's definitely still a goal someday, having a Nintendo Classic to get in there and beat it legit. But yeah, figuring out those tells, with the lower fighters, it's fun because you have some breathing room and you can get hit sometimes. And it's really funny. Like in Brazil, I've, especially in being a teacher, I played a lot of these games with these kids that like, Call of Duty and Apex and everything else, and they're like amazing and they destroy and all this stuff, and then you get them in Mike Tyson and they're like, what am I supposed to do? Like they can't figure it out. It's like too obtuse or whatever. And so teaching them to like figure out tells and like pay attention to what the pattern, and some kids get it, some kids Even when they know what's going to happen, they're like, I can't do this.
I'll have to see if I can find a speed run of somebody doing Mike Tyson, because I'm sure somebody's done it for Games Done Quick or something like that.
Disgusting.
Yeah, that would be disgusting. So next on my list, I'm going to give a shout out to old Javier Jaguar from Guacamole, the dip. No, if you guys have played Guacamole, it's a fun Metroidvania set in Mexico, and it's hilarious. It's very challenging, has a great story, but like, this isn't even the last boss. This is probably the next to last, I think, boss. And this Javier Jaguar just pretty much puts you in this arena where you have little space to move. And at some point, like throughout the game, you learn a bunch of pretty much color-coded moves. Like blue is this kind of punch, red is this kind of kick or move. And pretty much Javier becomes kind of like a Simon Says, where he turns a color and you have so long to hit him before he changes to a different color. And then he will come at you with a color and you have to, sometimes you can dodge it, sometimes you can't, you have to move. It's super hard, but I will say I definitely powered through and beat him on normal and hard. But it took a lot of tries. I died a lot. And then the second time around, because, to get the platinum for a lot of these games, you have to play it more than once. I found that there was a chicken suit you can get in Guacamole that when you pretty much hug a wall, you will recharge your health. And so the second time, to save myself the pain, I would just double jump up to the top left corner or the right corner of the arena, and then I would just hug the wall until I healed up full, and then I would jump back in and start going after him again.
Do what you gotta do.
You do. Yep. You gotta cheese it. So naturally, he's a very tough boss to fight. But when you use that chicken suit, I'm not above using a chicken suit. So yeah, it is what it is. So
yeah,
Javier Jaguars.
Should put that on a T-shirt. I'm not above that chicken suit. Lucas Swisher.
Not above a chicken suit. I wear a chicken suit all day if it'll keep me alive. For sure. All right, Ronnie, you got another boss fight you want to share?
You're muted.
Yeah, I don't hear you.
Oh. Well, now you can hear me.
Yes, I can.
There you are.
My last one is a combination. It's the dragon and the rat from Enter the Gungeon.
Yeah, I figured Enter the Gungeon would come up.
Yes.
I don't know, like,
yep.
I know a couple of you guys definitely got to the dragon, and the dragon was a nightmare. Like, just a sweaty, button-mashing nightmare. But oddly, the rat after the dragon was worse. I don't know if you guys ever fought the rat. You had to have, like, the key and everything. You had to basically, like, unlock him. I never actually beat the rat legitimately, and I say legitimately because I ended up getting somehow we went in co-op and somehow got stuck after the door had closed, and we weren't actually in the arena with him, but it allowed us to fire through the door. So it was awesome.
No way.
What a good glitch that was.
So it was like the best thing that could have ever happened, really.
Yeah.
But I did try and fight him a few times straight up, and you get like a certain gun, so you don't go in with whatever gun you have. You get like an actual, just like, that's like a regular machine gun, a pretty good gun like that you would get throughout the game. But he is just an absolute nightmare. Like, dominated me like every time. I never even got him down to like, I never even got into that final quarter of his health.
Goodness.
Nice.
All those bosses are tough.
Yeah, they are.
For sure.
Yeah, I had to quit that game because I would probably break my controllers continuing to play that game.
Yeah.
It is stressful. Like, it is stressful, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Mark, what you got?
So I had to improvise because Pat kind of took mine.
All right.
With
improvisation.
With Mike Tyson's Punch Out. But another one that's, another old school NES, SNES game. Man, those games were unforgiving back then. The Mega Man games.
Ooh, yeah.
Any and all of the Mega Man games. I mean, pick a boss.
Yes, right?
Yeah, there was not really an easy boss in a lot.
it certainly it helps once you unlock a lot of the abilities from the different bosses, and you use those to kind of counteract. Okay, well, this particular ability will help with this boss. That helps a little bit, but still, they were ridiculous to try to maneuver and try to beat. Anything from like the OG NES Mega Mans to like Mega Man X and up, like, oh my gosh, just absolutely. I've never actually beaten a Mega Man game because of that.
Just
they were all over those hardest boss lists on Google.
Yeah,
Mega Man games.
I couldn't play Mega Man, not when I was little. Absolutely no chance. And my brother could. My brother was good, but Mega Mans were not my kind of games because I couldn't do anything in them.
Yep.
Like, that game was hard in general, not just bosses. Like those
the exact
traversing, it was like, I don't know how to do any of this.
Yeah.
Oh, he was like a rock. Like you jump and he'd immediately fall. Like, he had no ups. This guy, this character's supposed to be mega. He's supposed to be an android, like powerful, and his jump was weak sauce. And
I'll tell you what though,
that's a tough game.
I still use his is one of the things to kind of traverse levels faster as Mega Man is to use his dash and then jump, dash and jump.
Oh yeah.
I still do that in Apex to this day. I will slide and jump, and every time I do, it's like, yeah, Mega Man.
Represent.
But yeah, all those bosses, atrocious.
Yeah, definitely. Patrick.
So good transition, Mark. Speaking of Apex, I'm gonna go unorthodox, and I'm gonna go just the uncommon way of thinking of a boss, and it's Apex, and the final 2 squads in Apex is really nerve-wracking. It always, like, playing this game for 2.5 years, and my palm still gets sweaty, my heart still races.
Yep.
Because we're not playing against the computer, we're playing against actual people.
Yeah.
And getting to the top 2 and fighting against the last squad is really tough, because that means that we're the 2 best teams that are left on the map, and the other team could be pros, like serious pros, where just like, I don't even have a chance. It's just time to take a knee, or just like I did the other night, and I just jumped off the map. I was like, screw this. I'm just going to kill myself. I'm not going to give you the satisfaction of killing me, because I don't have a
on
chance.
your terms.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like the other night, like when, like, literally it's like, you know what? Let's just get this out of the way, and just flew straight off the map.
I'm not feeling this match. Let's just fly straight into nothing and die and go back to the lobby. But yeah, the final 2, and really any battle royale that I've played, whether it is Call of Duty, whether it is Spellbreak, whether it is Fortnite, any of the battle royale games, you get to the final 2 and it gets very intense.
Yeah.
And I love that feeling, even if I do lose, or if I do win, that just, it doesn't really matter. I crave that adrenaline. But yeah, I think that is the getting that win. People always post like, hey, I finally get my first win, or if I got a win, it's my 5th win or whatever. It's just really satisfying.
Yeah, especially those final 2 matchups where like the final circle is like super small and shrinking and getting down to the last, like, that's when it's like beyond intense, because you're literally at that point your health is like dropping at 3 times normal rate, and you're just trying to live just long enough to be the last one. And that's when
that
it gets
that mini boss is coming closing in on you while the main boss is right in front of you.
Yeah. That's good. I wouldn't have thought of that.
Yep.
Lucas.
So the last main one, like I said, I have 8, but they're more like honorable mentions.
Yeah.
The last one I want to throw out there for a tough boss battle is from a more recent game, Final Fantasy VII Remake, and it's actually it's called the Pride and Joy. It goes by a different name it's like a series of boss battles you have to get through, and you have to fight through. It's almost like a boss rush, and you can only play it on hard mode, and I think it's 5 levels. The culmination of the fight is a boss battle against a huge robot called Pride and Joy, but that's not actually the hardest one. The hardest one is right before that, against a big dragon called Bahamut, or Bahamut, however you want to pronounce it. And halfway through the boss battle against this guy, that he has one move where it hits you for 9999, like pretty much instant death, unless you have like
ender.
Yeah, it's a game ender, unless you have like certain magic already applied to you, or your equipment is set to where you can't get one-shotted. But then halfway through the fight, he calls another boss that you had already fought before to fight with him. And it gets even crazier, and it's Ifrit. And just from there, like, I had to do this battle multiple times. It takes, I want to say the boss battle takes at the very least 15 to 20 minutes to do. And if you die, like, I don't know if you guys what the longest boss battle you guys have done, but 15-minute boss battles are not fun to repeat. When you get to like minute 14 and then you die and you're like, I got to do this all over again.
Yeah,
I'd be shutting off the game at that point.
Yeah. So that's the tough boss battle, the last tough boss battle I want to throw out there.
Okay.
It's
nice.
pretty tough. Bahamut and Ifrit. So any last honorable mentions of boss battles you want to throw out there before we're going to read some joiners boss battles, but I don't know that we're going to touch on any of the ones they mentioned. But do you guys have any honorable mentions?
Last one, the last Valkyrie in God of War.
Oh, thank you for making that up.
Yep.
That's also on my list.
Yeah.
That lady, I did not like her.
Yeah.
That ramped up real fast.
It did. Yes.
Yeah. I was like, here we go, playing on easy, because, I've made it real fine the rest of this time on it. And then, hey, what are we? Oh my gosh, I'm dead.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah, it didn't help you were playing on. Wasn't that when you were doing your 24 hours?
Yeah, I made the mistake of playing. There's that boss battle, and there's another boss battle that I actually have that I'm just going to throw out there. That was probably more difficult because of a lack of sleep. But the final boss battle in Broforce, destroying Satan. Do you remember that, Patrick?
Yes.
It took us hours.
It should not have taken us.
It should not have taken that long. But that was such a difficult boss fight when I was sleep deprived and not thinking straight. So that one got an honorable mention.
That's one of those bosses where if you have the right character, it's not that bad. But like,
you keep getting MacGyver,
if you end up with like Bond, like every time, like you're gonna get dominated.
Throwing martinis and stuff. Like
yeah.
The devil's like,
you
Satan's
just need like the
whatever.
right. Yeah, you have to have like the right character.
Yeah, for sure. Any others you guys want to throw out there?
Nope.
All right. Well, okay. I'm just gonna throw out 2 more. Anybody play Metal Gear Solid Revengeance?
Negative.
Nope.
Yeah, there's a you fight the president of the United States of America at the end, and he's not wearing a shirt, and he's really strong.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Totally makes sense.
America.
And then the last one I'm going to throw out there, Uncharted 2's Lazarevich. It took me way too long to figure out how to like look backwards while running, shooting the blue pods in time to hit him and make him weak, and then shoot him.
I think the Uncharted games, if you play it on easy, they're not bad. You put it on crushing, you're screwed.
Yeah, it's literally crushing the soul.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. All right. In the Discord, we have a few bosses that we're going to throw out there. We may or may not know who these bosses are, but we're going to rely on our joiners to explain them to us. Old Bernabe El Ronchas Butters said Moganar. Now, I probably will not pronounce any of these names right, but it is what it is. Moganar in Metroid Prime 3 Corruption requires patience, aim, and the double-edged corruption ability that drains your health. He has 3 cores you need to destroy, and he can restore them. and that's cheating. And then he gives a picture of him. He's really ugly. He looks like a big Titan monster thing. So, any Metroid Prime fans out there?
No, never played. Nope. Well, I briefly played one of them, I think, but.
Lord Zukor, I never beat the final boss in Banjo-Kazooie or Paper Mario for that matter. Those probably are not that hard, but here I am. Hey, I feel you, man. There's some bosses that are just not that hard, but for us, it just gets in our head, or we hit it almost like a writer's block or a boss battle block.
Mm-hmm. That newer hard. Mario game where you can play like the 4-player co-op side scroller.
Oh yeah.
Bowser's pretty hard at the end of that. Really? Like he's like the full screen, and you're like he's just like tearing the level apart behind you, and you're just running. Like you can't miss like one jump or you're dead.
I feel like half of the difficulty is Bowser, the other half is your teammates who stink and drag you down.
Oh yeah, every time somebody dies, it does like a little like glitch,
and that bubble comes up. You're like, I'm not getting you back.
I'm not popping you. Stay
away from them.
Yeah, they're like waggling the controller, like, come on,
trying
to
catch you as fast as they can.
Nope.
Not gonna do it.
Not gonna do it, mama. So. I imagine Banjo-Kazooie is definitely an old school 3D game that was just hard in general, I think. So I can imagine the final boss being tough.
Yep.
Chris the Rock, the Harrier jet in Metal Gear Solid 2 on extreme difficulty, required for the platinum. Oh. It becomes a dance you need to learn by heart. Dancing with a Harrier jet. That sounds fun.
Only in a Kojima game are you fighting a jet.
Yeah, it's long and no mistakes are allowed because you are a one-shot kill. Dang. Yeah,
Metal Gear Solid 2 though. You start out as Snake, and then you do not play the rest of the game as him, which was like the biggest.
I think it's like a third of the game you get to play as. I mean, I guess the opening's more like a quarter, but
it's only the opening
and the rest.
Yeah, I mean it's the rest of it.
Yeah, but the boat is a pretty long mission, so I'd say it's like a quarter of the game.
I don't know. I only played it once, but I just remember all of a sudden I'm like, how long am I going to play as this guy? Like, why am I not playing
for the rest of the game?
I know, like I was so confused.
Yeah, that was crazy. Haas said, back at the launch of Final Fantasy 14 AAR, the Titan hard fight gave me a really hard time. Mind you, it was still new content and everyone wasn't over-leveled for it at the time. It was the real skill check for players back at that time.
Oh, yeah. The whole DLC drop, you're probably not going to be able to beat him right away. You got to level up again.
That is correct.
Gross.
You done messed up, Ron. I finished Tales of Vesperia earlier this summer, and the fight against Alexei is awful. His most powerful attack feels the entire screen and can near wipe your entire party at full health. Sounds like Bahamut.
Oh, gosh.
His flare move. He also doesn't follow the ultimate attack rules that the game has for any other character, including other bosses. So he can just use it at will, no warning. Basically, he actively cheats.
Oh, yeah. Just changing the rules of the final boss. That makes sense.
That's right.
Cheating. Thanks, devs.
Yeah. Also, he has a couple of nasty unblockable spells and an attack that heals himself and damages or stun locks any melee attackers that are too close, which he spams on occasion. Ooh, stun lock's the worst, where you get hit by something and then like you can press all the buttons at the same time and you don't do anything.
Yeah.
That's the worst. I don't remember how many times it took me to beat him, but I know it was in the double digits. Compare that to the final boss of the game, which I think took 3 minutes. It irritated me because it wasn't even seemingly a matter of skill. You had to have that plus be slightly OP plus have RNG on your side. Yeah, that's frustrating when you got to rely like almost solely on RNG on the rolls.
Pray to RNG.
Oh, Jesus. Oh wow. Yep, that's true. It's true. The last one we have is Jacob Hollowed Fox Moon said, growing up, it was the secret boss in Mario RPG. Now I don't play games that would frustrate me that much because I want to enjoy my time gaming. And struggle busing is not my idea of a good time. Having a few problems, difficulties fine as long as it's really easily attainable.
Yeah.
I do not remember the secret boss in Mario RPG. Did you happen to play that, Mark?
No, I mean I briefly played it, but the RPGs
Good
are
game.
not my bag.
Hold on. When did Mario RPG come out?
That was
Super
like
Nintendo
90s,
days back
Super
in
Nintendo.
'96. It was like one of the last Super Nintendo games.
That sounds awesome. A Mario RPG game.
Yeah, it's really fun.
They need to make another one of those.
They
That
should.
does
They
sound
did.
Cool.
Yeah,
They should.
Well, they did.
Yeah, it's called Paper Mario.
Oh, nah, in like regular Mario, like 3D, like
Oh,
Odyssey
okay.
and Galaxy kind of feel.
That's fair.
Yeah, it's a little different, but yeah, it is a RPG.
Yeah, Paper
Proper.
Mario was basically a spiritual successor to the Mario RPG games, but
Yeah.
I get what you're saying.
Yep. All right. Well, that's all for our boss battling struggles and sharing together in this time. So that's all I got.
Cool.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. So we're just going to abruptly stop it here, hit the brakes really fast. I've already covered housekeeping. We're going to do our songs next week. So, just put a pin in it and we'll unpin it next week.
Mm-hmm.
All righty then. Pat, Mark, and Ronnie J, along with you, our beloved friends, family, and joiners. Go get your good morning this week, and may God bless and guide your lives as you live, as you work, and as you game.